Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Tongue grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
Welcome to the Guys Who Cry podcast, season 3, everybody. Tres is 3.
Live on Vodafone. Look at that. We are in video.
Vodafone's from like the 1980s, though, right?
I think so. Laserdisc,
and our the most special guest. Well, maybe that's a little bit of an overstatement. My friend, Evelyn Hernandez. Say hello, Evelyn.
Hernandez Valencia.
Oh, Valencia. Because your mom's name is Evelyn Valencia.
Yes.
I know that very well. That didn't sound right. Sorry. Your mom's very nice is what I meant.
You guys are friends on Facebook.
We are friends on Facebook. I love being friends with people's moms on Facebook.
Yeah. Funny story about that. My mom was over my house the other day, and she was like, oh, yeah, I just added Adam as a friend on Facebook because he added me years ago, and I was like, I felt a little weird about it because I didn't really know him.
I added her?
I think you did.
Oh.
I added your mom.
Oh, don't
How you doing,
talk
Gloria?
about my mom like that. Yeah, what's up, Gloria? So anyway, we're back for season 3. It's been great. We've been off for a couple of months, but we're back now. We're trying out video. So if you don't like it, you can suck it. It's fine.
Ooh, this was crazy. It's so live and uncut. And they get... A lot has happened though in the last couple months. We hit our 1-year anniversary.
We did.
We didn't do anything special for that.
No,
not at all. And a couple big things happened to us personally.
Yeah, all the girls we were dating dumped us.
Yep,
that was great.
That's true. So
really
Adam and I are back on the market, everyone.
Right, back on the market.
What else? Oh, I just came back from Knoxville for a very special thing that I'll be able to talk about in 6 to 12 months.
Knoxville's great. Knoxville's great.
It's a great place.
And as everyone can see Evelyn on the camera, I just want to introduce her a little bit more. So we have been friends for, I think, going on 8 years now. We actually met on a dating site, OkCupid, as friends.
Well, when we were on there, we weren't friends or anything.
We weren't anything.
Yeah.
Right. So I will give you a little bit of background. So Evelyn lives in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. She is
I live in West Warwick.
West Warwick, yes.
You don't know my life.
No. I do know it's West Warwick because Greg and I went to visit you.
Yeah, but where do you tell people that you live?
Yeah, what do you tell people?
Probably Providence.
What do you say? Live in the United States of America. Greg and I actually went to visit her and her boyfriend in West Warwick a couple months ago, which was a lot of fun. But you are in a clinical psych PhD program at the University of Rhode Island. Boom, I got it.
Yes, correct.
Ooh.
I always forget the details of her life.
Yeah, he was struggling with that before we went live.
Yes.
And that's super interesting, though.
Yeah.
Psychology is wild.
It's great because we're always talking about mental health, and Evelyn has had a lot of experience at helping people being a clinical research assistant too, right? Mm-hmm. So you've dealt with a lot of people who have struggled with mental health, and it's just kind of fun to talk to someone who's more in the professional field.
Yes.
That's awesome. And how long is your PhD program? It can go for however long,
it's
right?
5 years technically of like classes and stuff,
right.
And then I do a 1-year internship. And then after that, I'm like technically done and I get my PhD, but then I need to do like a postdoctorate associate.
Right.
And then I can do like a faculty position. So we'll see me in like 8 years.
Because you want to work more in the university side as opposed to like a therapist or counselor.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely want to be more research focused than take on like actual patients.
The actual patients and all that stuff.
And where did you do your undergrad?
University of Rochester in upstate New York.
And what was your major there?
It was psychology, and I had a minor in creative writing.
Interesting. How'd you like that?
It was really nice. I transferred from a different school because that one was too easy for me.
Ooh.
So then I went and then I failed biology and chemistry. So
who doesn't fail biology and chemistry?
I was like, maybe not pre-med, and then psych seemed interesting. So I just decided I was going to do some research after I graduated, and
I love
that's
it.
what I did.
And 2 things Evelyn loves: the cold and Dunkin' Donuts. Let's see that tattoo. Can you put it up on the camera more?
Everybody runs on Dunkin'.
It's awesome. It's seriously the best thing ever.
I like Dunkin' better than Starbucks. I will die on that hill.
Because of the coffee or because of the donuts? Oh, Starbucks doesn't have donuts.
They have one donut.
I think it's the value.
Glazed donut.
Starbucks has one donut?
Glazed donut.
Oh, it's like a lottery. You have to get the one donut in the morning before.
One flavor of donut.
It's just a glazed donut. Just like the look on your face.
I'm so glazed.
I'm willing to die on that hill because I think the value for Dunkin' Donuts coffee is better than the value for Starbucks coffee. I had a Starbucks cup of coffee today, and let me tell you, not impressed.
Not so
very
good.
Burnt
not impressed.
tasting.
What food do you like at Dunkin' Donuts? If you get something,
I usually just get like an iced coffee with caramel swirl. It's very good.
Caramel swirl. And
Because they have like unsweetened shots that still taste like whatever the flavor is, but it's 0 calories. But then they have the 200 calories.
Which is like all sugar or whatever.
That's what I like. So usually that's a breakfast for me.
I do like that. I'm learning how to order properly at Starbucks so like they don't screw me over on the quantity of liquid in my cup. Because I got one there recently and they filled it like all the way with ice and there's just a little bit of liquid in it. It was really good, but I paid like $5 for it.
like 4 ounces of actual
it's like
coffee.
a sippy cup, man. Of like, it's all mostly ice. Like there's nothing in here.
There's nothing in here.
I still have sippy cups. Do you guys have sippy cups?
Nope.
They're from my mom. I'm sharing way too much information right now.
You are.
But speaking of mom things, you're cooking focaccia upstairs in my oven.
Focaccia upstairs.
Yeah.
So
But it's awesome.
Yeah. So at work, when it's slow, I do a lot of these crazy cooking projects, especially in the winter session.
Mm-hmm.
Evelyn, I don't know if you stay at school during winter session or if you ever go on campus during winter session, it's dead.
Yes.
And so we're serving maybe 30 kids a day. So I was like, I need to do cooking projects. So one of the cooking projects I did was a focaccia bread. Adam commented, I was like, dude, I'll make a batch of this dough and I'll bring it over and we'll cook it up. So that's upstairs and it's out of the oven and cooling. It's going to be super fresh, super delicious, pesto infused.
Maybe we can show it on the podcast. Can we show it on the podcast?
We might be able to later.
Oh, I want to put my finger in it. Okay, cool. That sounds great. So this is exciting. This is a really good time. I don't know.
It's so hard for us. I don't know why. It's our first live stream.
It's not. I feel great.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little weird for me. I don't know why. I feel like I'm on display. This whole thing in front of me, isn't it weird? It's a little.
It is.
It's a little different than just recording in the basement without the camera.
Some of us aren't used to being on display like others. It's a secret talent of mine.
The guy who has a TV show, right? Got it. It's okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do. I'm coming on your TV show.
He is actually. Yeah, that's another thing that's happening. So
Yeah, let's give a look.
But like, what are some of the things you do personally other than school?
Oh, that's my least favorite question because the answer is nothing.
No, but what have you
wait.
done? Yes.
You know what I do
Yes.
is I watch a lot of
You do.
trash
Classic.
TV.
Oh, it's the best.
So in the background, I'll always have the Maury Show or Jerry Springer, or sometimes if I'm feeling a little like morbid, maybe some Steve Wilkos.
That's awesome.
Steve Wilkos is still on?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's still on. Like, this is just, if you're interested in watching all of these shows, there's this app called Nosy. You can get it on like Apple TV, Roku TV, any of that stuff.
Oh.
All they play is these shows, like all day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maury is a classic. He was married
Classic.
to who? I forget who he was married to. He was married to somebody.
Somebody famous?
Yeah. I think she was like a really famous Asian newscaster. I can't remember what her name was.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
But I remember watching him a lot
Yes.
when I was a chubby little kid staying at home. I would watch that. I think my favorite ones were like the weird couples. That was always my favorite episode. The paternity test ones, it just kind of got old after
That's
a
like
while.
all of them, though.
You guys know Lil Nas X was on an episode of Mario?
Yes. It was, What Does Montero Want?
Oh.
Because it was about his song, That's What I Want.
Oh.
So it was like loosely based off of the music video for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good promotional. He's a good marketing guy for sure. But what else? You have done live theater in the past.
I have. What's
Yes.
recorded theater?
You did recorded theater?
No, I'm just saying because you said live theater. I've never heard of recorded theater.
Oh, I think that's what people call it. Then they call it live theater? No? Like Broadway is like considered live theater?
Or just theater.
It's just theater.
Oh, it's just theater.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I
like
did a
being
bunch
redundant.
of theater in my undergrad.
What
I
plays?
did. I mean, I'm not going to remember all the plays, but
Or like one or two. Yeah.
there was a really cool one called Madame de Sade, which was about the wife of the Marquis de Sade. You know, the guy with sadism and all that stuff.
Oh, I got to Google that.
So it was not like sexy or anything.
Okay.
It was like a drama talking about how the wife of Marquis de Sade wasn't able to stand his lifestyle and kind of the fallout of that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Are you good at memorizing stuff?
Yes,
lines
I
and
remember everything about Adam's life, even
Yeah,
if
I
he
forget
doesn't remember anything about mine.
Everything. Well, we were talking about that yesterday about reading comprehension and memory because I feel like I can read stuff, textbook, whatever, Google art, and I forget. I'm burping. And I forget instantly. What about you guys?
I mean,
Are
yeah, you
like
do
that,
that
Ruben?
all the time. I'll be like, dude, I just told you that the other day. How did you forget? You're like, oh yeah, that's right. You know,
I just feel
that's
like
my Adam impression. He always says, oh yeah, that's right. You told me I was
have to
doing
do the
that.
thing.
That. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm always hurting people's feelings because I'm forgetting things, but I just I
So
don't know.
you did musical theater? No, not musical theater.
Oh, no.
I've always
theater.
wanted to do musical theater though.
I actually hate musicals. So it really upsets me
right.
whenever people are like, oh, theater kids, they're like singing all the time. And I'm like,
No,
not all
not
theater
you.
kids are into that. Like
no.
I can't. So no, the answer is I will not do musical
Well,
theater.
speaking of musical theater and bringing it kind of back to like emotional topics, right?
Yes, yes.
So I watched a movie last month called Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yes.
It's about Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
the guy who wrote Rent.
The
Side
guy who
note,
wrote Rent.
I didn't realize Jonathan Larson died a week before, or like a day before Rent premiered.
Oh, so
he
we never
got to
it.
see Rent.
Oh, how tragic.
He had like a pulmonary
Aneurysm.
aneurysm,
Animalism, yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
And like died before he ever saw Rent. So this guy who changed the course of like musical theater never got to see his life's work.
Wow.
But the movie Tick, Tick, Boom is an adaptation of his screenplay Tick,
Yeah.
Tick, Boom, and it's literally about him writing this kind of like Ray Bradbury-esque
Yeah.
kind of musical theater piece, and like it's just his journey, and it kind of reminded me of like me and you because of our creativity and our creative journey. Is there anything with you like creativity that like you like deal with in your field and
You
your
mean like a
studies?
struggle or
Just like anything like from like a psychological standpoint, like where does that come from? This journey of saying this weird thing that you deal with where it's like, well, I want to be creative, but like how realistic is it that I can pursue this as a thing?
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily relevant to what I do now, but I did have a point in time where I was thinking I don't want to do psychology anymore after having done it for years. And so then I enrolled in a grad school seminar for creative writing, poetry specifically. I, in the past, have done really good things with poetry. I've won awards and scholarships and everything. So I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. They tore my stuff apart.
gosh.
I kind of lost that kind of passion for it because it was so academic.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was just being trained to be an academic who's going to train the next academic. And I just kind of lost the creative passion that went with it. So I stopped and I went back to psychology. And so far it's worked out.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting back into it now that it's not like a necessity for college?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about kind of going back? Because I feel like you and I have kind of had a similar journey in that way too, with you with music and me with cooking.
Yeah.
Like I left restaurants 5 years ago and went into corporate dining because I was burnt out. I didn't want to cook anymore. And through that, I rediscovered my passion for cooking and my fire for cooking. And it just
You could
pushed
enjoy
me
it more,
to-
doing
yes.
it more on the side. As opposed
and you
to-
kind of had the same thing, right?
I think so. Well, when I did a band full time, it wasn't full time, but when I did cover gigs on the weekends and band stuff all the time, it does burn you out instead of doing it more casually, where you're not trying to
So have
pursue a
you
career.
thought about like just doing it for fun, you know?
Yes. I always tell myself I'll go back to writing poems when I have my free time, but I don't really have free time now.
Well, especially now, and your PhD program is cranked
Exactly.
up, right? Yeah.
So one thing that I do see myself doing possibly is like going back to doing some theater in the summer.
Yeah.
Because at least this upcoming summer, I won't have too many responsibilities. So there's like this one acts festival that usually runs around Providence. And I'm thinking of doing that again. So
That's awesome.
for now, that's my
Yeah.
little goal. But other than that, I do not have time to be in a full length play.
And that's
Yeah.
fair too. It's a weird struggle.
And people make sacrifices for that. I definitely, and there's other people who have done full time, music or art and done it well professionally, made money from it, and then switch paths later and do something totally, quote unquote normal. If they go and be a teacher or something like that. So I do feel like we glamorize that lifestyle a lot, and it is fun for a lot of people once you become, whatever, famous, successful. You can do your passion full time, and other people could probably get burned out on it and switch course later on.
I can't tell you guys how many people have reached out, especially in like the later stages of their life, and they're like, I really love to cook, and I think I would like to pursue this as a career, right? And these are like people in their like mid to late 30s who have families, and I'm just like, look, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You're never going to see your kids.
Yeah.
You're never going to see your wife. You're always going to be at work. You're not going to get paid a lot.
Right.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah. Right.
And like, unless you absolutely have that passion, right? Like
right.
for me, I can finally see myself maybe going back into like a restaurant or like something of my own or something like that, right?
Right.
But like in later in life, it's like you said, it's super difficult to explain that to people. Like, listen, like, it's not easy to cook. It's not easy to cook for multiple people at a time. It's easy to cook one thing at home when you're working all day on it, but like, you have to put the stress of trying to get this whole prep list done for the whole menu for at night, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to articulate that with some people.
The grass is greener on the other side. I mean, once you start doing that full time, you realize the shortcomings of the lifestyle. And instead of just being able to appreciate, maybe the day job you have that pays you well, allows you to have a family, and then enjoy, cooking or doing music or whatever it is on the side. But everyone has to figure that out for themselves.
So Evelyn, can I ask?
Yeah, what's up?
So what made you go for your PhD?
Oh,
That's a big step.
I don't really have a great answer to that. Like, I'm not really sure why I got into psychology in the first place. I was introduced to research pretty early on in my undergrad, so I started getting involved in that. Started off with really boring stuff like social psychology and cognition and no offense to people who love spirituality and religion, but it was a lot of like, how does this provide a sense of outcome in comfort in your life?
Yeah.
That's something that I personally wasn't interested in. So I decided that instead of going to like a counseling master's program or something like that, that I would do a PhD because I wanted to pursue my research interests, which at the time was more like depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
But I went on to I lived in Rhode Island before too, because I had a job with Brown University and I worked with actually like suicidal teens at a psych hospital and looking at a treatment study to see if we can kind of decrease their suicidality, their self-harm, and all kinds of thoughts like that.
Was there anything personally you learned from dealing with people who struggle with that? A lot of people who struggled with that, either in your own life or how do we battle those issues in the future?
Just that it's so common.
Yeah.
Like, people think that thinking about suicide or killing yourself or any of that stuff means that this is like this extreme end with little people in that group. But so many people struggle with it.
Right.
It just doesn't have to lead to an actual attempt. It can be pretty quiet and insidious until it gets to that point where maybe you might not be able to handle it anymore.
Right. That's like when we do the mental health check every week, only people are comfortable answering it. Like 0 to 100, how do you feel? 0 being maybe you should check yourself into a hospital, like serious help, 10 being you feel great. But I think being able to comfortably say that, or just being able to seek out help when you really need it, when you really feel like you're desperate, it's common. A lot of people struggle with that, and probably you think suppress it a lot. You think most people suppress those?
I think it could be like several factors. Like they might be a little bit embarrassed to show like that they are struggling. Especially I see that more with like people who are more religious, or even just people who identify as being men, just because you're kind of taught to be more like masculine and kind of suppress it. You're not feeling these things.
Supposed to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it compared to like generations ago, it is getting better.
Sure.
Like, I think my professor brought up recently that if he were to ask his grandfather all these questionnaires of like, do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel ashamed? That he would be like, oh no, I don't feel any of those things. But like now, if you ask people, they're going to be more open about it. Like they may not be like, yeah, I'm struggling a lot to the point where I'm thinking about harming myself.
Right.
But they at least feel more open about just saying like, hey, I'm really struggling today. Or like my mood has been going down. I can't really like function in these areas of my life.
Yes.
So
it's great to bring that up in conversation and keep it in the public forefront so people feel comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say, you know what? Like it sometimes it is kind of embarrassing because I mean, even like from a personal standpoint, like
even on those weeks when we've shared our thoughts, it's a little bit like I'm really not doing that well this week.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously like seasonal depression is very real. And like that all kind of plays into effect. But I think sometimes I pride myself on being such a positive person. Sometimes it's hard to admit that I feel negative. I'll be 100% like transparent about that. I think that happened a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I'm like not doing too well mentally right now, but like, go to the gym and like try to get those endorphins going. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like, listen, like Adam has a life. Cortland has a life. And, like if they say, oh yeah, we can't hang out, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, hey, but like, it is hard to admit sometimes. It is hard to, I think, especially for people who pride themselves on being such a positive person, it's really hard to admit when.
Yeah, we talk about some of the, we talk about a Robin Williams, for example, or people who, look like they're happy or make other people happy all the time. And it's disguising things that they might be struggling with, We don't
Yeah,
expect
sometimes
it.
people say it's like the people with the biggest smiles are the ones that are hiding the most,
Yep.
which can be true at times.
Yeah. Well, Evelyn, we've talked about that before. Where we were joking about that today. We went to breakfast, right? Remember, you said, "Oh, Adam, I feel like you get annoyed with me," and then I was like, "Oh, Evelyn, I feel like I'm so annoying because I forget things and I'm just such a dork."
Yes.
And then oh shoot, what did I share that? Because oh man, I just lost my train of thought.
This happens a lot too, so.
Yeah, it's classic. It's
Oh
classic.
my gosh, I had a really good point. Anyway, it's fine.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
It'll come back to you. And
Did it have something to do with girls?
What were we talking about before that? What did you just say? We can
No, I
talk about
love
something
my
else.
train of
I can't remember. Oh man.
I don't know. We were talking about just
dying.
like trying to be
Being
happy.
annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about you
No,
being
but
annoying.
what you said right before that.
What? Just trying to be.
Positive?
Yeah, just trying to be positive all the time.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You know, I mean, listen. Everyone deals with that. I mean, I think like that's what's so great about this podcast for me and you is that we're able to kind of project that and like try to make it somewhat okay, especially for people who identify as men.
Yeah. And there's the more podcasts and the more movies and the more songs that talk about that stuff. I think it just lets somebody who's listening say like, oh, they feel like that. Well, I feel like that too. It's just giving people a path for empathy. So
Yeah, I think it definitely helps to hear from people who you would expect to not hear from.
Right.
Like, for example, like I have my own mental health struggles,
Yes.
and people in my profession kind of, at least when things like doing therapy, you're told not to disclose a lot of your personal information when you're dealing with clients.
Yes.
Like if they're sharing their depression, you're not supposed to be like, oh, well, when I was depressed, this is how I felt or what I did. Because you're supposed to keep it, professional and keep it about them, which is true. Like this isn't your time to shine.
True.
But I have heard from people in my life that it's been helpful hearing from someone who does work in the field just talk about their own struggles. Because then that just makes it seem like, oh, like it's okay to feel that way. People who are treating people who are feeling depressed are also feeling depressed. And
Yes.
we're all human. We are not.
You're not above it.
Yeah, no.
You're not above the problem.
I feel like it would be even harder as a mental health professional. I mean, it's like I guess it would be kind of the same vein as like a nurse or a doctor. At some point, do you just become kind of numb to it, like by seeing, like hearing, getting all of this stuff just unloaded on you and unloaded on you and unloaded on you?
You're numb to the sympathy for other people who are struggling.
Yeah, like I know for like
Yeah.
there's sometimes where I'm like I need a break from listening to other people like vent.
Yeah.
I want like do you ever feel like that, like as someone in the mental health field?
I think no, because that's my job. Like I don't mind it, and I really enjoy talking to people who are struggling. It's been a little bit different so far just because my my jobs have consisted of me doing things like assessments and diagnostic assessments and stuff like that. So it's not like these people are venting to me on their own. I'm like asking these questions and their emotions are coming out, just by nature. So what was the question?
Well, I was going to ask, wait, what about we have like a friend who struggles with severe mental health, and you make suggestions. You say you should see a therapist. Maybe you should do this. They don't take your advice, and after a while, you kind of get burned out.
Yeah.
And them just complaining all the time without doing anything.
Yeah, it's definitely
possible?
different hearing it from other people. Like I have different friends who have dealt with these issues to different extents. It's easier to be there for someone for some of these times. Like when
Right.
I'm more down, it's easier for me to be there for my friends that are also pretty down.
Right. When
Which
you're
you
feeling
kind of
good.
wouldn't think so. Like
Yeah.
you would think if I'm in a better place, I'd be able to support someone then. but
Right.
It's just hard for me when I am feeling better to relate to
Yes.
someone who's feeling down.
Yes.
Like we just kind of don't have that connection anymore. So
Right.
you kind of have to find something else that does connect you in that friendship, which can be a challenge at times.
Can be a challenge, and you've been constantly pursuing through ups and downs of just like I've tried to like go to therapy or whatever, like pursue if it's medication or therapy, whatever things help you. You've kind of pursued that the whole time, and maybe other people don't.
Oh, absolutely.
But what I think has been cool, like getting to know you, how much a particular medication, when prescribed correctly in the right dosage, can turn someone around.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate. Like meds are great, but they're
Yes.
also terrible in terms of how appropriate they are for certain people. Like a lot of the times if you go to like your family doctor or something, you fill out a little depression questionnaire, they see that you score high. Most of the time, they don't really refer you out to see a therapist. They tell you to go to a psychiatrist.
Right.
And a psychiatrist only deals with meds. So they might do, if they're better at their job, they may do a full diagnostic evaluation. If they're not, they may listen to you for 10 minutes and then they suddenly decide that you should take this medication without really discussing it with you.
Which is really important. You're saying that it's really important to pair with any medication also separate psychological evaluation and work, like behavioral therapy, cognitive therapy.
There's different kinds of therapy, but
right.
I would just say, like, if you're ever struggling, I would suggest the first thing that you do is go see a therapist, a counselor, or someone, and not necessarily try meds first.
Yep.
I mean, like research has shown that things like cognitive behavioral therapy has been more effective than meds alone, and that meds and CBT together are even better.
Yeah.
So sometimes the meds can help in terms of just boosting your mood to get to that point where you can engage in therapy.
Yes, or you engage in therapy, and then you can kind of take it from there.
Yeah. And so some people only need it for like that little boost, and then they can like taper off of them and then just stick to therapy.
Right.
But other people are going to take it for the rest of their life. Like I'm going to take what I'm on for the rest of my life, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's scary to think about, but like people have so many different illnesses that they take medications for, and if it has to be forever, then as long as you're feeling better and you're able to function, then I'd say it's worth it.
All those Doritos I ate this week, I know I'm going to need to start taking Lipitor. Yeah. Wait, have you ever thought about going to a therapist, Ruben?
I have actually. I've thought about it a couple
Do it for
times.
the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I definitely have thought about it. But it's never gotten to a point where I've acted on it. I think it'd be great for me to go to a therapist just for, I mean, it's kind of like Ray Marr said last season.
Ray Marr. No,
There he
our
goes
friend, I
again,
thought you were quoting like a celebrity
no.
or something. Yeah,
No,
Ray
it's
Marr
like
is our
Ray Marr.
celebrity.
We had him on last season. He said he started seeing a therapist. I mean, for no reason, he was happy. It's nice to have someone to listen to you.
Yeah.
I've
Which is
thought
also,
about it.
there are so many different types of therapy and stuff and different clinicians that it really depends like what you're looking for.
Right.
Because you can just get someone, I don't want to say just, like it's still a profession and they go through training, but someone who doesn't necessarily deal with like trying to change your life or dealing with certain mental illnesses. You might be benefiting more from like a life coach or just a general counselor that wants to be there for your well-being, maybe serve as like, I don't want to say like venting sessions, but just a way to kind of express your emotions with somebody weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But other times you may need more specific ones to actually deal with like clinical stuff that you're dealing with.
Right, like a PTSD specialist or something that's more specific to you. Yeah.
Do you think we're going to start seeing a lot more like drugs, like drug therapy, like LSD therapy and like all of that?
Actually using drugs as a form
isn't
of
that
therapy.
like
Yeah,
kind
they
of a
have
movement
like,
that's
I forgot what it's called, the magic
Psilocybin.
mushrooms, psilocybin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of studies on that, on ketamine,
Ketamine, I've heard about
on some other stuff.
Joe Rogan
I
talks
don't
about
really
it a
know
lot,
too much about it because it gets into like biological processes and I don't know anything about neurons, so you feel like I should probably know more than I do.
I will say acid and mushrooms, I think, if microdosed correctly, I think could prove to be really helpful for some people. But like
from personal experience.
I mean, they're also
No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Mom.
No, I'm joking. I don't know. I'm joking.
It is though. I mean, like there's some people who like I know who have taken mushrooms and then they're like completely different after they've taken mushrooms. It's like say it opens up your third eye, what does Rogan always talk about? DMT, it opens up your third eye, man. It's the fourth dimension.
it's just hard because everyone has different reactions to drugs too. Like you could have a bad trip and it could totally ruin your mood.
100%.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But I could see those advances happening too, just because I mean, in several states, like marijuana has been legalized to treat anxiety and depression and PTSD. So if you see some sort of effectiveness in that, then why not in other drugs?
Yeah, I think they are looking in. I think Molly is another one too.
Are they?
I think they're. I know there's like a bunch of different researches on that, which is really kind of crazy to see how far drugs have come in the last like 10, 15 years. Or like
love.
It used to be like, oh man, you're doing weed.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh dude, you're just doing weed. It's like you're doing weed. Oh, lame.
Since I'm holding this guitar, I have a random question. How does melancholy sounding music affect you?
It can be really annoying, or it can be, well, like what you're playing, for example.
Yeah.
Then I'm just annoyed by it because I want something more like rocky, you know?
Oh,
like
I feel the same way. I hate it. I like to play it.
Like we were at the brunch place and you were like, why do they have to play?
It's like well lit, beautiful new like
song were they
breakfast
playing?
place. I don't know. They're playing some Sarah McLachlan song or something. It wasn't that. It was something else.
Arms of an
But
Angel.
It was kind of like sad, slower, melancholy. And I'm like, okay, great. Now I'm going to be sad the rest of the day while I'm enjoying my French toast, you know?
You know what?
$14 French toast.
But people like it. It gets other people in a better mood. And I'm just like, I hate it. I want something to get me amped up, you know?
Well, Evelyn, you're into emo music, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's supposed to get more energy.
That. Yeah, I guess like, I don't know. Some of my favorite emo songs are the slower ones. So, like, you know, what is it? The Mayday Parade song.
Mayday Parade, yeah.
You know, walk across the floor and ask my girl to dance. Whatever song that is. I love those songs.
Aww.
Anything with like a piano, sign me up.
Right, but I get it because if I'm in a sad mood or a breakup or something like that, I will go to songs like that sometimes just to get the tears out.
Right, and I told you about like the one song that came on, and I'm curious if this has happened. If what song does this to you? There's a song that when it comes on, there's a song when it comes on, like I instantly like start crying. Is there a song like that does it for you?
I don't want to say to the point of me starting crying, but like I can feel myself getting emotional. And that would be, to no surprise, a My Chemical Romance song. It's called Ghost of You.
Oh my gosh. That music video is very emotional too.
Yes.
So
it was just playing like during some really hard times in my life and when I was making really bad decisions and things I regret. So now when I hear it, I'm just kind of thinking of like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, I'm thinking of like, I can like this song now,
right,
in a different mood with a different mentality.
That's so funny because like Cortland came in. So at the end of December, my favorite band played in Wilmington, The Wonder Years. And they're from Philly. They're super cool. They're awesome. But I told Cortland before coming in, he had never been to a show like this with me. And I was like, just want to let you know, like, probably going to start crying because they got me through like the hardest breakup of my life.
Yep.
Like one of their albums in particular. So a couple of songs I played off that album, I would take off my glasses and start wiping my eyes, man. I'm like, this is crazy. And Cortland, and I also broke my glasses that concert.
But see, the thing is, like, I'm sensitive to it. So if I'm feeling okay, I don't want to listen to something that's going to make me focus on something I was sad about previously.
I'm going to make a comment, and I'm just going to take off my eyelash right now because it's falling.
Take it off. You can give it to me. I'll put it on. It's perfect. You look beautiful, Evelyn.
All right, here we go.
Yes, awesome. Oh, you got a new piercing, too.
It's a Monroe piercing. I still can't eat burgers, but
it's so sad.
I try to eat everything on like one side of my mouth. Like I can chew completely inside, but it's just when I'm putting it in, I have to avoid it because I have like a little stud thing on the inside.
Right.
So kind of sucks, but
yeah. So need a tattoo.
Anything to keep the emo aesthetic. So.
Got to keep the emo aesthetic for sure.
Yeah, that is my jam. I love that it's kind of coming back in a little bit too.
Emo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like there's that, I don't know if you saw that festival when we were young festival.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, it's
too much for one day.
It's one day.
Is it like goth or like emo?
No, it's emo stuff. It's like literally every big emo or emo band that you can think of that was in like the 2000s.
Oh.
They're playing like Paramore, Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance.
Confessional.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's done by the same people that did Astro World.
Yes.
So be safe.
Be
careful.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Be careful. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're listening to this podcast and you're going to it when we were young, be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Stay hydrated.
Help people up. Yeah.
There are rumors that the first band to drop out will be My Chemical Romance, so we'll see if that's true.
Why is that? Because they're older?
Just because they're like so big, and they're also going on tour in that area in October. So like I'm supposed to see them mid-October in Denver.
Gotcha.
Where is this taking place again? Las Vegas?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I don't know how far that is, but
well, and it's just like it's so weird now too. Like I know it's just bands trying to be like this. Like meet and greets are almost like non-existent now, right? Because of COVID. Like
yeah,
like it's tough right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like I went to this show and you had to be vaccinated to get in, and they were like, you have to wear your mask the entire time. Well, by the time the Wonder Years came out, no one had their mask on, and we were like pushing each other, like we were all up on each other, and it was just like, it's gonna be weird for music until like this stuff kind of dies down. But it's just a show like that, like when we were young, it's like probably like 30 bands on this list, and it's one day.
Wow,
I think they, with doing all the math and stuff, they only have 3 stages and all these bands are supposed to play. It's like everyone gets 15 minutes, like each band gets 15 minutes, and that does not include setting up.
Oh, yeah, it's not enough.
So you're not going to be able to see everyone that you want to see. They keep on like advertising it as if you're going to go for several days, because they're like second day added, third day added.
Right.
But that just means you have to buy a ticket each one. And the bands are not spread out during all those 3 days. They're just playing the same stuff each day.
Sounds
for 3 days.
risky.
I just like they were just talking trash on this festival. That's like,
Yeah.
it has
It had to
such
be
a
the
great
Fire
lineup, but like
It does. It really does.
we're not being realistic, guys.
If it didn't cost as much as it did, and if it wasn't like halfway across the country, then I probably would do it.
You would
but
try it. It would be cool to go to a festival. I feel like I would get so bored going unless I was drinking a lot.
You get bored during watching a movie.
I know,
sometimes.
that's the problem.
You fall asleep at movie
My
theaters.
friend brought over a brand new video game. I paid for it, and he was like, "Okay, start playing it." Like I played the first time, I like literally walked, and then a guy shot me. I died within 5 seconds. I was like, "I'm bored, dude. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it." But this is great. Oh wait, I was gonna sing. Well, you only need a light when it's burning low. Only miss the sun. You know that song, Let Her Go? That song
Yeah,
gets to me,
it was
man.
because you know.
Sing it like Aaron Neville.
I remember that song because it was on like a Budweiser beer commercial
so
for
sad,
like a
dude.
Super Bowl.
It gets
with like
me.
the Clydesdale that was like from a baby to like a big Clydesdale.
What's it sound like
And
Aaron Neville? Can you sing it?
Well, that's not Aaron. It does sound a little bit like Aaron.
Can
but
you
it's
sing it like Aaron Neville?
When you hold it out, when you let her go. Kind of sounds like Barry Gibb, actually.
Who's Barry Gibb?
From the Bee Gees.
You know all these people.
Gosh.
The Bee Gees is like 50 years ago. Nobody knows the Bee
Well,
Gees.
I was going to bring this back into our emo conversation.
Oh, you're going to bring the Bee Gees into our
No,
emo
because if you think about it, I started to think about like, why is this music getting so popular? And now I'm thinking it's like when I was like 13 and I was like, oh man, I should have been around for the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like that's the same thing that's happening now. That's why emo music is coming back, and with like YouTube and all this stuff now,
Yeah.
it's like it never left.
It does. It's funny. I remember being in college. I think it was like a music theory class or something. It was an older guy. We were learning a lot of classical music and Gregorian chants and all sorts of stuff. And he was like, oh, the Beatles, like, that's not going to be around in another 50 years. Like, no one's going to remember that music, you know? And I'm like, what? Like, Mozart was the same back then. Like, I love classical music, but it was the same back then. It was new, it was fresh. Some people liked it, some people probably didn't like it, and it's persisted in its own way. I think the Beatles will too.
Yeah.
Probably Travis Scott will too in some ways,
Listen,
you know?
like Paco Bell's not going anywhere. You know
Paco
what I mean?
Bell's just
Taco Bell?
Paco Bell's Canon in D, the
The wedding song. Play it, Adam.
I forget.
It's what is it?
Vitamin C did a version of that back when we did like early 2000s.
Was that graduation day?
Yeah, graduation day.
Oh,
Vitamin
yes.
C.
Yes,
Maroon
yes,
Maroon
yes.
5 did a, they used
Oh, they
that
did.
chord progression. Yeah. But see, all those themes kind of come back around, which
Greg is cracking up.
really like.
Like, can we just give a quick shout out to Greg for helping us set all this up?
My
though?
gosh,
Like, can
Greg.
we just Greg say hi? Come
Greg,
here.
say hi in the camera.
Come here, Greg.
Yeah.
There he is. Look at him, guys. Greg is the mastermind engineering all of this stuff. He has
So-
put so much time and effort into
With
this.
my laptop and mics and smartphones and the camera, the lighting, and we're doing live streaming, full podcast quality, professional quality
Yeah.
of signal processing.
It's a good thing we have Greg. I don't know what this podcast would be without Greg.
That would sound like our first
It's hard-
episode.
It's hard to think about what this podcast would be without Greg at this
Yeah.
point. Greg, can you just say something, man? Come on.
It would be better. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, he's not on. He doesn't have
Yeah,
a mic.
we need to
have
get a
put
mic on.
We have to put a mic back on Greg.
You gotta
Greg,
put a
Greg,
mic
Greg.
back on Greg.
We'll
Oh, yeah.
figure it out for the next time.
Oh, yeah, we'll
he's
figure it out.
he has killed it. This is an amazing first time that
Yes.
we've tried this.
Yeah. First times are always the best.
The first cut is the deepest.
No.
Oh, can I play that?
Well,
First cut is the deepest. But first cut is the
do
deepest.
you know Picture by Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock.
Oh my god.
Isn't that a Nickelback song?
No,
No.
Sheryl Crow and
That's
Kid Rock.
Photograph.
Oh my god, this was a good first episode of season 3.
Great first episode, Evelyn. Thanks for everything.
Should we do the
Yeah,
mental
thank
health
you
check?
guys.
Oh, can we do a mental health check?
I don't know what that means.
So we made this thing up. It's like a scale, 0 to
We
10.
didn't make it up.
0 is like, it's like, how do you feel? 0 on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is like, I probably need help. 10 is like, I feel great.
10 is I feel great.
10 is I feel great. Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me now.
Yeah. Well, so I'll do it first. Like this week I've been talking to my ex again, so I feel a lot better.
Here we go.
So I feel like an 8 or 9.
Here we go.
I know, but
Oh
she's
boy,
great.
here we go again.
Sorry.
Well, that means tomorrow you're going to be feeling like a 3 because you're not going to be talking to her again, right?
No. What are you talking about? We're talking
Nice,
all the time. We're talking more.
Ooh.
So it's funny because that actually makes me feel like way better. So I feel like an 8 or 9. I don't want to say like I'm 10. I mean, no, who's a 10? I don't know.
Who's a 10?
Mom's a 10. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, 8, 9 is good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm around like a 6.5. Only reason is because I am coming off this high from last week, which was a big week for me.
Oh, big week.
And coming down off that high, it still kind of feels like last week was a dream.
Yeah.
And so maybe kind of dealing with kind of coming back to life, texting some of these other people that were there, and we're like, yeah, it's kind of weird just to kind of go back to life after that, huh? And we're like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Mountaintop experience. Yeah.
But I'm about a 6.5, you know. I'm feeling great, you know,
Yeah.
good, but just a little, I don't know how to really describe it.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm missing last week a little bit,
Right.
but I'm also kind of glad it's over.
Yeah. Do you want to take a stab at it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would probably say either a 6.5 or a 7.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not like anything's wrong,
No.
really. It's just, you know, I'm content.
Yeah.
And school is getting me stressed out, so that's not helping. But
No,
you know,
that would be a big thing.
yeah.
for
So
sure.
it could be better, but it's not like it's bad.
It's manageable.
Yeah.
I think if we're all in the manageable range, like, you know, you can get to the next day, you know, you can like look forward to something, or Evelyn came to visit me, so of course she's
Oh yeah,
doing
sorry.
great.
I'm actually at a 10 because I'm seeing Adam right
Of
now.
course. It's all about me.
It's
No,
really because I met Ruben is why I'm at a 10.
Oh, wow. Well, Ruben does that with everybody. Makes everybody feel good.
Greg has joined the group. He's going to give us his mental health check too.
Oh, yeah, Greg, let's get you in here.
I'm doing great this week. I'd say like a 7 or an 8 just because we're starting the podcast again. So
Yeah.
Yay.
It does feel better to start the podcast, right?
It does.
I missed you guys.
I miss hanging out with you, Ruben.
Oh, forget you.
Not Adam.
No, Greg and I were up till 4 a.m. this week practicing setting this
It's
stuff
good
up.
to see you
it's a lot
too,
of fun.
Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you and Greg have put in so much this just to get this off the ground.
But we like it. We
I
get
know,
addicted
but
to
it's-
it. We
but
enjoy
it's
it.
nice.
It's like when you cook focaccia, you know, you like it.
Yeah, I wish I could take you guys upstairs right now and get that. But
Can you bring it? I know we've gone over the time of the podcast, but can you bring the focaccia down?
You know what? I'll bring down the focaccia.
We'll keep talking. Well, I was going to
Talk
say.
is Duran or Duran or Duran? Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I was going to talk. I like how we talk about the just trying to achieve the feeling of just like being fine. I think is okay. Most of us feel fine most of the time. You're not like, you don't have some high, or maybe you don't feel super, super depressed. You just feel like, yeah, fine. Like, and we've like, that's what I think, especially mental health. It's a goal to get people to be. It's just like, I'm okay. I'm okay living. I'm okay taking another day at a time. Because I think that's a struggle for a lot of people is, why am I living? I'm not enjoying any moment of this. It's all suffering, you know?
Yeah, and there's like even a spectrum of okayness.
Yes.
Like even if I feel like people tend to think in extremes, like
Sure.
I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling good.
Right.
But you really could just be feeling in between. Like the word for that is being euthymic.
Oh, yes. Euthymic, yeah.
Yes. Oh, the bread is here.
There's the bread. Looks like a pizza. Oh, it looks so good. Greg, I like that camera switching. It looks really good.
Ooh, look at that side. Look at that cross.
Now, we can't put ranch dressing on that, can we?
Ew.
you want, Adam.
Oh. Wouldn't it be good,
Adam
though?
loves to bastardize all my food.
I
just so
do.
we're
Where's
clear.
the
What did
A1
I say
sauce?
the other day? That
What?
you ruin food with your white people condiments?
Oh, with ketchup and ranch dressing, yeah.
I made this beautiful like fish curry for him,
People condiments.
and he put Doritos on it.
And you loved it.
It annoyed me so much. I was like, "Oh, great, you're putting it on there." And then I came out, and I was like, that actually kind of looks pretty good.
And then you ate one of the chips.
I was like, yep, the chips are really good. It's,
No, but that was
it's
really
these
good.
not Doritos Flaming Hots.
What are they called?
They are Doritos Flaming Hots,
Yeah,
but I
they're really
don't know if we're allowed to say that on the air.
It's cool. Well, thanks for showing the focaccia. Let's dig into it, man.
Yeah, we're gonna dig into it as soon as we sign off.
Thank you guys for joining. You can check it out. You can check us out on Instagram at Guys Who Cry Official. Check the link in the bio for this streaming video. You'll be able to see it after the.
That is also our YouTube. Yeah,
Also
Guys
our
Who Cry
YouTube,
Official.
which we just set up our YouTube, and I don't know the handle for that, but you can find it in our Instagram bio and TikTok.
Guys Who Cry Official 2396.
We've got a new video up on there, so
Yeah.
cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. Evelyn, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time and be entertained. I almost forgot it.
Wow! Wow!